for the sake, because like there's a button here, and I clicked it like yesterday because I didn't want this to like, because I was on a call like I said, and I didn't want it to accidentally turn on and guys hear me like so yeah, this trade was tough, bro. I think there's another screenshot. Yeah, so what did I expect price to do? So price did exactly what I wanted it to do. We had an inverse lower, we had an inverse here, this inverse, so I took it. It was like on the 3-minute, and then we had another inverse on the, I think, 2-minute, which I did take, and then yeah, break even was kind of obvious here, which we hit break even. Price didn't come back to break even, so I was like, oh, maybe this is actually a good trade. Moved 0.1% because of commissions. Yeah, that took out the commissions of the aspect of trading. And then yeah, we had this small retracement, and then we had a BPR here, which I could have capitalized on, but I didn't wanna. It's just something you get over time when you trade. Movements like this during, especially past 11 or 11:30, it's not really high probability that you might get the full move. Yes, trades might work, but the full move is usually not that clean at these times because momentum is kind of gone. Most traders are preparing for lunch in New York, so they're not really trading at this time. But sometimes the price does go to TP, like full TP, and I should have removed all my position at TP1, but I was expecting, as we can see here, I was expecting news highs to get hit, but they didn't. So yeah, we had this BPR still getting respected, but I decided to trail my stop loss here, and price ended up coming back up here, and then it never took out these highs. It was taken out yesterday actually. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not mad that I trimmed on here. I was up like 100 over here, and I could have closed my trade because we were reacting off our bearish fair value gap here. That's why we dumped like this. But yeah, I'm gonna go over why and everything I do that makes me take trades basically. So yeah, in hindsight, I typed this on my chart, expecting price to respect this BPR and move, because when we formed this BPR, like when we formed this down close of candles, I was kind of scared that we might go down because of price action before was kind of shit. So I thought we would just go to break even. So I was like, okay, this BPR has formed. I expect price to hold this BPR. Price did come here and that scared me a bit, but I said that expecting price to respect this BPR, which he did respect, and boom, I could have capitalized over here, put my entry over here, and yeah, but that's that. Yeah, this was also done the same day, break even. Kind of unfortunate, like I said, break even here. We're expecting off this bearish value gap. Yeah, we traded lower. This was also a loss I took on that day. We had news highs here, of course. SM2 with the ES, and this inverse V shape. Yeah, it's really good, but we kind of reacted off this fair value gap here, respecting it. So yeah, that was kind of the worst part of it. We should have put a BBC candle there. Break even trade, macro time. Yeah, it's just unfortunate we had a break even. I don't know, the last week's, like this week that's ending, the PE hasn't been that good, if I be honest. So yeah, even like it's like I can go through like back testing things like I did, but it's gonna like the thing about my thing is like color. Yeah, so I traded, like, this was like a full week of back testing, like data. I had 80% win rate, probably higher. I didn't really lose that many trades. That was break even, but they didn't count as break even. Yeah, this is the thing. Data highs are here. It formed a devil's mark. Yeah, it's just like sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but most of the times you do get it. So yeah, you can see I back tested this strategy, and yeah, it's something life changing. And keep in mind, this was the time when I didn't really know much of trading. Like I knew trading and I knew like strategies and those things, but I was so new to inverse models, and I only wanted to take this model because I was like, okay, everything I've been doing before is trash. like it's not clicking for me, but this kind of clicked for me. And some people will say, oh, what is he saying, he's yapping. Yeah, you might say that, but when you actually put in the work and you actually trade a model for a long time, you start to get good at it. And once you get good at it, it starts to stick to you, and everything else just looks trash. So yeah, backtest it. And keep in mind, if I did backtest this right now, I probably have gotten better results. But yeah, this is just crazy. 100% win rate in a full week price action. Imagine that, bro. Like last year's PA was way better than what we're having right now. And yeah, 100% win rate, 3 trades taken, up 11%. Can you imagine that, bro? Yeah, and then this whole year's PA has been the starting of this year's PA has been so atrocious, bro. But yeah, let me stop yapping and go to